No, I'm in constant state of getting canceled, and I like it that way.
You are?
I want to be right on the cusp.
What does that mean?
It just means if someone's always offended.
Oh,
Like someone's always
okay.
offended.
Oh, it's so annoying.
Like you could say the word exotic, and they're like, that actually is offensive to strippers because, and you're like, shut the fuck up. It's exotic. That's what it is.
Yeah, like you should be like happy that it's exotic. Like exotic to me is like sexy.
Yeah.
Welcome back to another episode of My Body, My Jokes. I'm comedian Morgan Gallo, coming to you from Dude IDK Studios in Denver, Colorado, our home, our place, our lovely place. And today I'm joined by someone very exciting. I say this about all my guests because I only book exciting people.
Naturally.
But I'm joined today by someone that I have taken several dance classes with, someone that has taught many of my friends in the city, Marquette Carrington. Hello.
Yeah, hi. Hello.
How are you today? You feeling good?
I'm good. I taught classes today, so I feel great.
Very cool.
You know, just I'm leveled right
and
now.
so you are the owner of Hard Candy Dance Studio
Yes.
in Denver.
Mm-hmm.
And tell me a little bit about how you started that company, because I know you had the company before you had the studio, right?
Yes. So I've had many companies in Denver as an artist. Like that's what you do. You start new shit when some shit fails. You start a new shit.
Yeah.
And then I started this company just because I wanted to be unapologetically female and woman.
Yes.
And like
Hell
I not only wanted to just do weird shit like paint my mural on stage, but kind of naked. You know what I mean?
That's fancy.
I just wanted to do cool, weird shit. So like we got a lot of popularity when we did a show called Bang Bang, which is kind of a play on Kill Bill where all the dancers were like different serial killers. However, we also made a movie.
Oh, wow.
So instead of me, because I do not love talking on stage, like being on stage that much, which is weird. That's a whole nother conversation. I was like, how do I make a show that is everything I want it to be, but I don't have to go on stage and announce people or make it a weird burlesque show where there's always like some comedian making dick jokes. I just didn't want that kind of a show.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to write a movie. So I wrote this entire movie, and it has like a cliffhanger and everything. Pre-pandemic, it did really, really well. We got like a lot of variety for it. Sold out several
What is it
shows.
called?
It's called Bang Bang.
Oh, it is Bang Bang. Okay.
Uh-huh. And then after the pandemic, I wrote Bang Bang 2, which still got so much notoriety. It was huge.
Oh my God.
So expensive to make.
I'm sure.
I love doing it. It's a beautiful show. I'll gladly send you clips of it.
Yeah,
It's
I was
really
going to say, is there
amazing.
somewhere people can watch it?
I've never like posted the whole thing, but you can definitely, I'll send it to you.
Oh, was it something you more like submitted to festivals and
well,
stuff?
I didn't even do that. It was like for me. It was art for me.
Okay.
And it did well on the social platform of people coming to shows, but
Cool.
in the end, it was like, I just wanted to do something weird and different.
Yeah.
That's not like a typical burlesque or dance show. It was just out of the box. Let me write this movie.
Ooh, I'm really excited. I really want to see it.
It's really great. And I say that, and I say a lot of my work is shit, so I know that it's really great.
Oh my God, that's so
So,
funny because to me you're such a like inspirational
Thank you.
person, let
Yeah.
alone woman, because I found your dance studio. So I grew up in Boulder, danced for a long time, was a dance teacher through college, and then when I moved back to Denver and I was doing comedy, my life was like so different, but I wanted to keep dancing. And I went to a few different studios, and yours was the only one that I stuck with because you have such a
great.
positive energy. And I'm sure that you have been through some version of this where like when you grow up as a dancer, you're very conditioned to see yourself a certain way and to see others a certain way. And you're very used to looking at yourself in the mirror and looking at a bunch of other women in the mirror and maybe comparing yourself.
Yeah.
But when I was at your studio, I felt like it was much more about like, no, we're here to like celebrate the fact that we even can move.
Absolutely.
And that's
Yes.
so cool. So how did you like develop an environment like that? Because I'm
Yeah.
sure it can be difficult working with all kinds of like, how do you hire the right people? How
Yeah.
do you make sure people on the company have that same energy?
Well, the company started 10 years ago. Like our first show was 2015.
Wow, that's great.
So I guess almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So it was a very slow, painful process.
Yeah.
Of me having no money and like $200 to try to put a show together. And a lot of these women followed me throughout the past almost 10 years. Like,
Wow,
some of them
great.
have still danced with me, come to the studio. And I always knew I was supposed to own a dance studio. I felt like there are pole studios here, and there's amazing pole studios in Denver and Colorado in general. And I've worked at every single one of them. And I knew that the experience I wanted was more performance geared, where a lot of people have that. People are like, want to do comedy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, I'm too scared. I don't know what to do. But this is a safe place to like perform without too much commitment. You know, like you don't have to put your whole bag in the game.
Yeah.
You can perform. You can be a performer. You can celebrate yourself in a way that we don't typically get to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, I am desensitized because I've been doing this for so long. So a lot of people have a really hard time understanding what I do.
For sure.
But when I try to explain the studio, I always say, and I actually had this conversation today, that the studio exists for performance opportunities, for you to feel like a performer, and for you to try to do something that you've never done before. Like that little inkling that you're like, what if I would have been an actor?
Yeah.
What if I would have been a comedian? That you can come and kind of pretend that you are the biggest performer in the world at the studio.
Yeah.
And
that's what I do.
I know, yeah.
I think that I'm like the hottest bitch in there for 1 hour and
All
then
the
I
time.
leave. Yeah.
All the time. And
Yeah.
I'll be teaching, like my butt hurts and I'm like
Yeah.
older and but I still look good.
Yeah, hell
so it doesn't
yeah.
matter.
So something that I ask every person that comes on this podcast, since it's, you know, my body, my jokes, what is your current relationship with your body?
You know, this is a loaded question. I'll tell you why. And this is for dancers specifically. And I think when you're a performer your whole life, and I'm an elder dancer now. I don't dance professionally anymore, but when you're dancing 12 to 16 hours a day sometimes, your body's going to change when you don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
I have arthritis in my ankles. I have hip shit. I have, a shoulder that was torn, like all that stuff happens. So your body naturally changes,
right.
Especially after the pandemic. So in saying that, I'm still learning to find a new love for my body. I've gained weight, but then I love my tits.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I've gained weight, but I love my ass. I like popping my ass because I'm like, look at that.
Yeah.
And I have a love-hate relationship with my stomach and my legs. But then I'm like, I actually was thinking about this the other day, that I was an ambassador for a rugby team. I just know I don't remember why I was there.
Okay.
But you could win products. So you come up to me and you spin the fucking wheel and you won some dumb shit tickets. And people came up to me and they kept going, "Are you a rugby player?" And I was so offended.
Oh, because you're thinking that they're looking at your body and being like, "Oh, clearly she fucks some women up on the field."
Bulky ass
yeah,
bitch.
dang.
What?
Oof,
so that's where my head went, and I
Yeah.
was so offended. And now I'm like, oh my, why was I ever offended? And this was quite a few years ago, maybe 8 years ago. And I've always had a strong body. You always talk, are you the cheerleader base? Or are you the cheerleader top?
Oof,
are you the flyer or the base?
That's a rough categorization.
That is
to
so
be
rough,
placed in.
right?
Yeah.
And I always knew I was always the base. I always knew that.
Same.
But I also celebrated how fucking strong I am. That I could lift shit. I'm fucking strong.
Yeah.
I could do some
Hell
shit.
yeah.
So there was a love-hate relationship with my body, and there still is. And I think as humans, especially as we get older, it doesn't just become about weight. It also becomes my body's just older. My body doesn't do what it used to do. And I'm around these 19-year-old girls who are stunning, who don't even recognize it. And they're like,
Right.
I need to lose weight. And I'm like, no, you don't. You just need to exist.
Yeah, you need to chill.
You are beautiful.
Yeah, you need to drink some water and go to sleep.
Yes,
that's it.
Go to
That's
bed.
it. Yeah,
go to bed
stop.
and stop fucking with these boys. That's what you need to do.
It's so interesting that you bring that up, because I think being a dancer has definitely shaped my body image. I think that if I wasn't a dancer, I would be in a completely different boat, because it is a lot of comparison, especially when you're on a dance team or a dance company where you're ordering different sizes of uniforms or stuff to wear on stage, costumes, and you're like, oh, well, Morgan's an extra large, but everyone else is a small, so it's you're always being compared, and the fact that you have to look like everyone else on stage when you're doing choreography. So you're basically having to move your body in sync with someone who might be bigger or smaller or taller or shorter. And it's just like such a weird energy to grow up in.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's like a battle too.
Yeah.
Of I'm so healthy. Why do I hate my body?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like it's like so sad to think about like all these women who, first of all, and I'm someone who like hires performers and I love very feminine bodies. Like I like women that have roundness to them.
Yeah.
And I never understand why I don't love that about myself. What I love on other women.
Isn't that the question? Isn't that some shit?
Yeah.
That I'm the same way. Like I see a woman with like a belly and some cellulite and I'm like, oh my God. That is like the epitome of femininity. You're rocking it. Like
the soft girl feature.
Like you look like you could bring life. You know what I mean? Like it's
it's
so cool. But
this is healthy.
Yeah, I look at my body and I'm like, you scoundrel. How dare you fucking be bloated? Like it's so stupid.
Trying on clothes and I'm like, ew.
Yeah.
It's so annoying. Well, and I feel like I just recently got comfortable buying larges because saying the word, like putting in the order and having to order a large really was a visceral issue for me.
Really?
First of all, American sizing is so weird.
Oh, it's so fucked up.
It's so messed up.
You could be a large and an extra small at the same time.
Yes, you go to Free People, and I'm so teeny and petite.
It's only
I'm like a little fly.
It is only for women though, because men, they have exact pant sizes.
Yeah.
They have big pockets. You can find shirts and pants that have like 30 by 31.
Because men's sizes are like inches, and they like tell you exactly what it is around the waist, what it is around the inseam. They'll be like, you got a big dick? Here's an extra centimeter.
They tell you
like,
their neck size.
Yes.
Their neck.
Yes.
You motherfucker. This
Oh
thick
my
ass
God.
neck. I'm like, how dare you?
Yeah.
My husband's like, oh, I'm a new, I don't know how the neck sizes go. I'm at 18. I don't know. But I'm like, how do you
so weird.
know your neck size? I can't even find the right bra. There's little ladies that follow us around Victoria's Secret like, you cannot figure it out. Let us figure it out for you.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're like, you've been wearing the wrong size this whole time. And you're like,
Every time I've gotten fitted for a bra, the first sentence out of their mouth is, you've been wearing the wrong size the whole time.
Yep.
Really? Because I got fitted here a year ago and I was wearing this. It's, oh my God.
Or they'll tell me a completely different size. And I'm like, I was here 3 days ago.
Yeah.
I buy a lot of stuff from Victoria's Secret, not even for me, for dancers. But I'm always like, you don't know what you're talking about.
No.
I'm just going to get a sports bra.
No.
I'm wearing a bralette. Or no bra. I'm not wearing a bra.
Or no bra. Yeah, no bra.
We don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah, the sizing is really tough. I've been there because I'm a size 12, like jeans, pants, like dress sometimes, like, but for some reason that was really difficult for me to come to terms with, because when I was at my smallest and I was dancing all the time, but I was also starving myself, I was a size like 6, 8. And to me, that was like ideal. I was like, this is as big as it gets.
Yeah.
And now it's like, no, my body is healthy right now. Like, I'm in eating disorder recovery, and it's like I have medical professionals being like, yes, you're healthy.
Yeah.
Stay this way, please. So it's like knowing the number is really so irrelevant.
And you come to the studio, and like that's when you have to celebrate your body too. That you're like, oh, the doctor said I'm healthy. I'm literally dancing. Clearly, I'm not.
Yeah, I'm getting my cardio in. I'm celebrating. I'm having fun, like performing in the mirror. Yeah,
yeah.
And you do a lot of, I feel, is hard candy really like burlesque / pole focused?
You know, I don't love using the word burlesque to explain hard candy.
Oh, okay.
I get a lot of pushback. I've had a lot of other people like, well, you're not real burlesque, which I don't know what the fuck that means.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Burlesque is a category of many things. Burlesque has comedy. It has it's like niche stuff. It has dance. It has, you know, anyone can do it. So when people say that, I'm like, oh, okay, Gian. But I really classify as like a sensual female empowerment dance company.
Cool.
Like it's just a celebration of bodies. And we really push for that. We don't really have too many men that work with us. I have to hire. I hire some for like some things, but I really am female focused, female body focused.
Yeah, I really like that. That was like the first thing I noticed when I got to the studio, because the first time I went was with another comic in Denver, Miriam, who is amazing.
Yes, I remember
she does pole dance, and she's like, I think she's in like the intermediate. Like she's like been doing it.
Yeah, she doesn't take class with me because I teach all the baby beginner classes
Oh
for
yeah,
fall.
yeah. And she took me and I was like, this is wild, because not only is it hard as fuck, but I'm like, these are muscles that I've never used before. Like the top of my foot.
Good.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, why would I do that?
Yeah,
For
but
what?
it's so cool to see like something that is so widely considered like a stripper thing or a like desperate woman thing to be like, no, actually this is a really beautiful, really athletic type of dance that is like revered in the way that there's competitions, there's showcases, there's professional pole dance. Like it's not
and they're
just
Olympians. These performers are sick. They train the way football players train. Like Tom Brady has nothing on how some of these people train.
The
like,
upper
no
body
shade to Tom
strength.
Brady, because I know people freak the fuck out, but
oh my god,
like,
I don't even care anymore. Fucking whatever. If Tom Brady can do a little Jasmine spin on the pole,
absolutely not.
Yeah, okay, prove me wrong, dude.
Well,
like,
and I even years ago I taught Twerkshop at a studio, and a bunch of the Broncos football players, I say a bunch, like 3 came, because I think there was a joke, or they had to like.
Someone like they lost a bet.
They were so bad.
Of course they were.
And I mean, like, drenched, dripping sweat, like, dying. Like, literally dying.
Were they, like, respectful, though?
Yeah. They're like,
good.
y'all are killing it in here. Like, they laughed a lot.
Okay, good.
That's, Twerkshop you have to laugh at yourself a little bit. You have to enjoy it. I don't think they left with, like, a hatred of it, though. I think they were like, damn.
Yeah.
That's good shit.
Yeah.
And I love when men like that come and take pole class too, because like my son and husband, I made them come take class. You're gonna respect my art. And my kid was like, this is hard. I don't want to do this. And I was like, of course you don't.
Yeah, you have to really want it. Twerkshop is a class that you teach that is literally just that. It is a workshop for twerking.
Yep.
Tell me like where that came from.
Well, so when I started teaching Twerkshop, it was about 9 years ago too, almost 10 years ago. I was at a particular studio. The name twerking was really popular. I hate saying it, but because of Miley Cyrus kind of brought it to the forefront, because you need a white woman to do that.
Yep.
Unfortunately, even though women were doing it forever. Baby Got Back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we're talking about 80s. Like, people have been doing this forever. And it just was getting a lot of want for it. Like, we just saw a market that people definitely want to do it. I grew up doing Polynesian dancing and a lot of just female empowerment kind of movement in general. So for me, it was like really easy. It was something I've already was doing.
Yeah.
I love dancing that way. So I'm like, I'm going to create this workout. But I literally created the Twerkshop that you see in Denver now. There's not very many instructors I have seen that didn't come directly from one of my classes.
Wow.
And I say that with my fucking chest.
Hell yeah, dude.
Let me say that in the mic. I say that with my chest.
Oh my God. You're the leader of the pack.
98% of them have taken my classes before they became instructors doing
Hell
twerking.
Yes.
And which is fine. And I'm happy to pave the way. And I love that people were so inspired by that movement, and because that's what it did for me. So that's how it should be, as long as they're also honoring the art and the why and the love and culture of it too.
Yes, and that's the piece that made me, when I started this podcast, be like, Marquis has to be on here, because
thank you.
After every class, and like specifically Twerkshop, like after every class, you have everyone sit in a circle and we take a breath. And you give us like a little bit of a tidbit of history and also an appreciation for our bodies. Tell us in the audience kind of what you normally like say at the end of class.
Oh my gosh.
Love this.
So whenever end of class, we always sit, mostly because with movement like that, Twerkshop, you're moving your hips a lot. There's a lot of things that come up trauma-wise in your hips, specifically for female bodies. But we sit down, we take a deep breath, and we try to, like, I always say burst the bubble that exists at the top of your head, because you're like moving a lot, you're like breathing heavy, you have like a lot of energy. So I like want to burst that bubble and like let it release and down into your body so you can just ingest it. And then we talk about where, twerking came from, which obviously came from Africa, but it also pulls from westernized culture. It's going to pull from Cuba, from Puerto Rico, from a lot of the island, going to pull some stuff from Mexico. It's going to pull stuff from Hawaii. And then the westernized culture, and it all came from New Orleans, by the way. A lot of people don't know. Twerking is twist and jerking.
Ooh.
That you twist and you jerk. There's a lot of different sentiments on that, but that's my belief system.
Yeah, yeah.
I've done the work, but it did come from New Orleans. And we do a westernized culture switch of it, that it's a lot of it comes from sex work, which most things do. And it's why I always, in most of my classes, say we honor Black women and sex work specifically, because this is deeply rooted in the sex work community. A lot of the movements we're doing is derived from things they use to manipulate men to give them money.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, if we go to the culture, the root of it, of where it came from, it really was a celebration of bodies, a celebration of God, a celebration of the earth and your children and birthing children, as well as trying to get men to impregnate you.
Yeah.
So all of that stuff is so true. And it's really important, I think, when you're moving in that way and you feel that energy and like you're looking at your fellow sister that's like sitting next to you doing the same thing and you're releasing all this trauma, it's really important to go, oh, for hundreds of years, if not thousands, women have been doing this type of movement as a way of community, love, and art and culture and honoring God in your body.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah, I know.
So beautiful.
I just, when people talk shit about Twerkshop, I'm like, come here. We're going to sit the fuck down and talk about this shit.
It's like, in a way, I'm sure a little insulting. It's like
So
you
insulting.
see this one side of it because of what the media and society has told us it is, because America is so prude.
Yeah.
But then again, like, sex sells everything.
Everything.
So
America was built on sex work.
Exactly.
Literally built on sex
exactly.
work. We would not have the Wild West if women didn't go there in order to have sex with men.
Yeah.
Like, it literally, I could go all day about this.
Yeah.
I've read books about
Yeah.
this. It's such an honor system of female empowerment to know that women built this fucking country.
Yeah. Don't
You know?
don't thank your grandpappy.
Yeah.
Thank your fucking
he
grandmommy.
did nothing.
Oh, what did he do? Stick his dick in someone? Congrats.
I mean,
everyone does that.
I would stick my dick in so many things if I could, but
Honestly,
you know,
same.
I think about it all the time.
I was thinking about this because I want to talk about like your experience online, and because I have a wild one, and sometimes people will kind of ask me like, oh, well, isn't it kind of, you know, flattering that you have men telling you that you're sexy or they want to fuck you or whatever? And I'm like, yeah, until I remember that a dude could put a hole in a watermelon and have the same experience
and be thrilled.
It's like there was an interview with Adriana Lima, that like really famous
So
Victoria's
beautiful,
Secret model, like years ago.
Yeah.
And it always stuck out in my mind because the interviewer on the red carpet was like, how does it feel to know that you're one of the most desirable women in America? And she goes, it's cool until I remember that men would fuck a McChicken, and then I'm kind of over it, in her beautiful accent.
Yeah.
It's like the funniest thing to me.
Well, and I think about the government when they were talking about aliens exist, and they were like, one of the key points was like, you can't fuck it.
Yeah,
Like
what?
that was the key point. You can't fuck it.
Yeah.
Who are you talking to?
Yeah, the fact that we have to say that says a lot about our society.
Yeah, we have aliens, but you can't fuck it. Like, what?
I know, like
It boggled my mind. Why
but I feel like there should be an asterisk that's like, unless you're a woman, then you should probably do your own thing.
Yeah.
Because the men are the ones that are gonna fuck it up for us. But since I know that you're like very active online, and you have like your own profile, and then do you run stuff for Hard Candy as well?
I have my personal profile, Hard Candy Dancers, which is my professional company. And then I have more, and then I have my studios.
Cool. Okay, cool.
So, yeah.
So what has been your experience with, you know, posting like dance videos or burlesque videos or videos of like Twerkshop, pole dance? Like, have you had any weird interactions?
I mean, I have, because I think every woman has, right? On my personal, that's where I get the most like, hey, like, this is one that I love this story, but this guy was like, hey, how are you doing today? You know, and I'm like thinking he had mutuals. So I was like, oh, good. How are you? And then he wrote something else. I can't even remember what it was. And then I didn't respond because I was like, oh, you're being weird. Like, I'm not responding.
Okay.
I don't want to go out with you.
Yeah.
And then he was like, hey, fucking bitch. Like,
just 3 bop bop bop.
Yep.
Oh,
fucking
what?
bitch.
Oh God.
First of all, I love you now, but it's like ridiculous. Like what?
Yeah, it's like where did that come from?
What would be the response to this? Like it's almost like if men can't get your attention, they'd rather you be mad. Like,
yeah.
No matter what, I'm gonna get the attention.
Yeah, they're like, even if I can't get a good reaction, I'm gonna get a reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild.
Or I'll have people like, hey, I was talking to my friend. This is a literal thing that happened. I was talking to my friend, and she was telling me that a lot of men like to be kicked in the dick. Have you ever heard of that or thought about doing that? Sir, what?
Why are you asking me?
Who are you?
Yeah,
and
what? This is a random person?
A random person.
What?
And I think he was like, wanted me to tell him a story about how, sure, I've definitely kicked a guy in the balls. I mean, I would love to have that story, but
oh my God.
I had nothing for you.
Oh my God, that is so wild.
So it's how they're so manipulative too, and how they do it. It's not even like, hey, how are you?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I have this funny story I'd like to tell you. And then you're like, what story?
Yeah.
Do we know each other? What?
God.
Yeah.
Do you feel like I know that obviously there's kind of this weird shit with men online, and this podcast we talk a lot about men, and I always try to make it known that like I'm not anti-man. I don't think men, it's just that
I love men.
It's just that the fact of the matter is a lot of the bullshit that happens online is perpetuated by men.
Mm-hmm.
But have you had experiences with like women being upset about things? Here we go.
This is such a heavy conversation too.
Let's get into it.
Because there's no hate like another woman.
Oof.
And I can't, it's the hate your mother gives you. And I can't explain it.
Oh my God, that hits so hard just now.
Yeah. Like, because I definitely don't just get approached by men. On my Hurricane Dancers, someone wrote on there, I love you guys, but I think it's time to cover up those beautiful boobies and save them for home and not for men.
What?
What?
Was this like a young woman?
I don't know. I was like, I couldn't even, I was like, I can't even.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, I will show my titties to God. Leave me alone.
Yeah, I'm going to do what I want. They're my titties. What are you talking about?
Women are so funny. I remember I won Westward Best for Twerkshop for my class.
Yes, that's awesome.
And the amount, and of course the articles online, when I could probably find it somewhere, the amount of comments from men and women, it was like tit for tat. Like every time a man, then a woman would be like, that's not my kind of workout. Or women will do this. They'll say, well, you guys do pole, but classy. And I have like a visceral, fuck you.
Yeah, that's like
there
such
ain't nothing classy about me, first of all.
Compliment.
It's so disgusting.
And what does class have to do with any of it? Like if you enjoy moving your body that way and you're doing it in a safe environment where you feel like you're having fun, why does it matter?
Men say the gross comments, but women say the intellectual fuck you up comments. Like they're the ones that say like, what man's gonna want you if you're just giving it out? Like you're like, well, why are you concerned about what man wants me?
Yeah, like why? Like if you have a man at home and you have your kids and you have your thing, like what? Why are you concerned about like this random person that owns a dance studio that you're probably never gonna go to anyway?
Yeah,
God.
And like they're overreactive. So it's like men generally it comes like from a sexual place,
right?
But women is a self-hate place, and that's what hits you is that you're like, you're not even mad at me,
right?
You're mad at yourself, and you really want to come take class.
Yeah,
like you're missing out, and
isn't that the fucking truth? Like,
it's so
oh my God,
frustrating.
we're just peeling back the layers of this onion
I try
right
to
now.
tell people all the time. I'm like, women, I don't have the same reaction towards women's hate in that way because I know it's coming from a dark, sad place.
Internalized
and some of us
misogyny.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's an internal, and in
I
a
would
way,
never let my daughter do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll see your daughter in 5 years after the horrible shit happens to her.
Yeah,
and
after she graduates high school
herself
and
again.
gets away from you. Okay, we'll see what happens.
That's what I tell everyone. I was like, why do that? So you don't want your daughter to come to a studio with a lot of strong, smart women who will love her and support her and show body love towards her.
Right.
You don't want that. You'd rather her wait, because I'll tell you this, as someone who owns a pole studio, I cannot tell you how many women come to the studio because they've been broken by a man.
Yep.
They've been broken by religion. They've been broken by dance, like, why would you wait for them to let them find us now?
Yeah.
So then they know how to honor themselves when this shit's happening. Like, it's so fucked up.
It's so weird because it's almost
and
like
it's fitness. You don't want her to be healthy.
Yeah. Also, yeah, it's almost weird because it's kind of like, I feel this weird, like, I don't know if the correct term is cognitive dissonance, where it's like I feel like I can't blame the women for having those thoughts because I'm like, I know that this has been a system that has taught you this for years and years. Like we have been so socialized to believe that our sexuality is meant for someone else that it's almost like, yeah, I get why, you know, a Gen Xer or a baby boomer thinks that because they're from a completely different time. But at the same time, I'm like, why can't we just like move on? Like, why can't we just mind our own business?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes, let's normalize minding our own fucking business.
Yeah, yeah. What do you think? What are your thoughts on body positivity, or like the phrase body positive, or the movement phrase body positivity?
I'm indifferent.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I think it's to each his own. Like, what's body positivity to me is not what's body positive to somebody else.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
For sure, yeah.
So if me being like, no, I'm going to wear a bikini, I'm going to wear a thong bikini to the beach, and like, I'm still sexy.
Yeah.
Is body positivity to me, but to someone else, it could be like, I'm going to eat a salad for lunch, and then I'm going, you know what I mean? Like, it's weird. It's a weird.
It is really weird.
Yeah. And then, you know, I always think of Lizzo.
Yes.
Who has like normalized these beautiful bodies just being out and like existing. And then people are like, how dare you exist?
Yeah. Why would you ever do that?
Yeah.
Why do you think
we're
it's
going to glamorize being fat?
Yeah.
Yes, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Look at that ass and those titties.
Yeah.
Yes, we will glamorize that shit.
It's a really weird, convoluted subject. I ask people because I myself am really interested in understanding the different perspectives of what body positivity mean to certain people. And I think this podcast specifically, I want to make it like a clear, safe space to understand that there's so much nuance.
Yes,
and like
much.
it's okay to like disagree, agree, learn from a different perspective. Like I've had a guest that is like, oh, the body positive movement is bullshit. I've had people who are like, yes, it's amazing. And it's interesting now because I feel like the movement itself like went through so many phases of like, it started and like it was this really positive thing, and then it got overtaken by the people who were like, no, this is not okay, you're promoting obesity or whatever, and then now it's like such a triggering word for some people. It's weird. Would you consider yourself body positive?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I because I think all bodies are beautiful bodies, and like if you have a body that's moving and living.
Yeah, what's not positive about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like my grandma who's in the grave should be like, not great about body positive.
Yeah.
Because they don't exist anymore. But like we're sitting here, we're dancing, we're eating out, we're going, to festivals and going to concerts at Red Rocks and climbing those fucking stairs. Fuck those stairs.
Hell yeah, I know, fuck those stairs, honestly. But you can do them, and that's something to celebrate.
Like I think my thought about body positivity has nothing to do with food. And I think a lot of people connect body positivity with food and dieting
or health,
and
the idea of health.
Yeah, like I think a moving body is a beautiful, positive body. So I'm like trying to reclaim too an older body is also like, I don't think we think of body positivity as weight structures, right?
Yes.
Instead of age. And I don't understand why it hasn't shifted into not just being positive about weight, but being positive about age.
Yeah, all of it. Like even, like ability level.
It's
like
very specific to weight. And that's the part of it I don't like.
I think that's why, like, at least from my perspective, maybe I haven't done as much research on it as I could, but like, I feel like that's why it's kind of become this really convoluted, touchy subject, because somehow it became about weight, and it became about fat phobia and the idea of health versus like the idea of like, no, actually it's about like, no matter what you look like, no matter what your ability level is, no matter what your skin looks like, like it's more about
loving yourself.
Yeah. And just being okay with the idea that like your health is your business. It's between you and your mental health professionals, whatever. It's more about like understanding that your body looks the way it does because that's just how it is. Yeah. Like that's your genes, that's your DNA, that's who you are. Like there's nothing to almost discuss. Yeah. Well, and
that's, there's a Netflix documentary that recently came out, but you literally, so I am this tall. I'm like 5'6". We'll just go with it.
Yeah.
I'm 5'6". I'm 162 pounds, you know? And I could meet someone who is also 5'6" and 162 pounds, and they look
wildly
so different.
Wildly different.
And this is why I'm like, why we have to like let the weight shit go.
Yeah.
And like move into a whole. That's why I like really push that every body is a beautiful body, because we have to get out of that mantra of, you know, your BMI. Who fucking fuck off. I still don't really know what it is, but I know that it's stupid.
You know what's wild is I read this book, Intuitive Eating. I really like that book.
And, I like Intuitive Eating. I actually
amazing.
Agree with Intuitive Eating.
Yes, and that was a book that was recommended to me when I was in the Eating Recovery Center here in Denver. My therapist at the time was like, I think this would be really insightful for you. I read it. And there's like a whole section with legitimate sources and legitimate citations that talk about the way the BMI was invented so that pharmaceutical companies could sell more prescription drugs to people because they were now overnight, they were suddenly obese because this number was created and the word obesity was like invented. Obviously, don't take that with a grain of salt. I don't want to say that it was the exact same, but there's a whole chapter on it, and it's like, I love the idea that like so many people hold that fucking scale to like as high as like this huge power.
I do not weigh myself, and I won't.
Yeah, no one cares. Yeah. Like it literally does not matter. Also, people who are super strong, who have a shit ton of muscle, their BMI, they're like technically obese because they have a lot of muscle and they weigh a lot. It has nothing to do with body composition.
Well, and I'm a muscular person, and that's why I'm always like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting too, because apparently BMI is, or like the data and the research surrounding BMI is based off of average white male bodies.
Yes, actually, I heard that.
Nothing to do with women, but then they put BMI on a label for us to tell us whether or not we're like healthy or whatever. And I just think it's so stupid, especially when it's based off of a white male. And we are not white males.
That's wild. That's like the fact that they didn't start testing period products on real blood until like last year. It's like, wow, God. We're really killing it as a in the medical industry.
Well, like
here.
even anxiety, all of that stuff was treated on men, and they're like, that's it. That's all we need.
That's it, man. Rats and men. We got it. We got it.
We figured it out, friends.
Oh God.
Well, I'm like I said, it's body positivity is it's just like a weird thing. I do consider myself body positive.
Hell yeah.
And I teach body positivity. I'm trying to find a way to manipulate more of age and stuff.
Yeah.
The studio actually has like our age brackets like 18 to 35 roughly. And so I find that a lot of older women are scared to come take class. They're like, can you start a 40 plus class? And I'm like, why? Just come.
Yeah.
And like, I'm 42. So I'm like, I teach this class. Come take class.
Yeah. That's wild that you're 42.
Oh, thank you.
No, I know. I thought you were in your early 30s.
Well,
yeah, I'm like, wait.
I once was.
Marquis and I are the same age. What are you talking about?
So I have a 20-year-old son, and I always feel like that helps to people like,
yeah. That is interesting because weirdly enough, like I'm 28 and I felt weird about my age sometimes going to dance classes because it was always, at least at some studios, it's like a lot of really young girls and they have no joints. Like,
and then where's your spine? Did your spine
and they
go
wear
missing?
like a bikini top and like sweatpants to dance in, and I'm like, how are your boobs not ripping off your chest right now? I'm wearing an army tank of a sports bra right now.
Under
it is
Armour.
so tight. It is so tight. It leaves track marks under my tits. Like, what are you? And it used to make me feel insecure, especially like if people were like filming themselves and they had like a full face of makeup. And then eventually I just got to the point where I was like, you know what? they're doing what makes them feel good.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
fucking cool. Like, what makes me feel good is just knowing that I can still dance after being kind of retired for a long time. But yeah, I can understand where maybe like the age thing can be scary.
Well, I don't want to dance around a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
I like I said, they have no joints. I'm like, I don't want to.
They can run off of like one piece of popcorn. You're like,
Yeah.
damn, okay.
Yeah. And they're like, I'm going to stay for all 6 classes today. And I'm like dying and struggling through one.
Oh, no.
So I'm like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely an issue. And I'm actually thinking about doing it, like just to see if people get, because you want people to feel comfortable. And I'm like, if my whole mantra is for you to love your body that you're in, how can I get you to do that until you come to the studio?
Right.
And one thing I love about the studio too is that we have a lot of dance classes, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of people still have stigma around pole, but the minute they come and take a dance class at a studio that has poles, it like they get desensitized. They're like, okay, this isn't scary. Like in their heads, I don't know if they see like men throwing money around and like watching these girls slowly, sadly cry and dance.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
weird
it's not
to
like that at all.
imagine like what a dance studio with poles look like, because we're so used to the idea of a pole being in one area by itself, whereas this is like, no, you have what, 6, 8, yeah. So it's like, and they're all next to each other. Yeah, that's really weird.
But then I see, we have K-pop and like, which is wildly successful. People really love K-pop class. Or even the Femme Choreo class with Audrey. A lot of people who are scared to take pole come and take that class, and then I'll see them like, I'm going to try it.
Yeah, because they stay for the pole class afterwards.
Yeah, they'll just be like, let's, okay, well, I'm already here. It's not as scary as it looks.
Yeah, well, and there's so many different skill levels, which is what I love about the studio is you have some classes that are labeled like beginner, intermediate, but then some that are just like, nope, this is just modern burlesque, or this is just commercial jazz.
Just show up and see how it goes.
And like you guys are really good about like teaching to a certain skill level. Like, hey, if you can't do this, that's cool. Do a single instead. You don't have to do a double or whatever, and that's really nice.
And we only have 2 classes that I'm like, you might want to wait for these 2.
Yeah,
and that's one of Audrey's, and then my Tuesday night class. That I'm like, just
which makes sense.
Try all the other classes first. If you feel like you want more challenge, you're always welcome. But just know that will be the biggest challenges. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
man, it's so cool to like talk to you and like understand your whole journey, because I've looked up to you for so long. This is like
so nice.
It's just cool to see, like, again, like growing up as a dancer and being in the world of you have to be small. Like I was on Palms growing up, and Palms, for those who don't know, is like a version of cheerleading, is maybe if you think of it that way, but it's not tumbling, it's like dancing. It's like what you would see a NFL cheerleader do, where it's more like dancing, but you have palms in your hands, you're at the football games, whatever. And I was like the biggest girl on the team, so my uniform was the biggest size, and I gained weight in high school and I couldn't afford to buy a new uniform, so I was kind of busting out of it, and I just had to like deal. And it's so shitty to go through that. So being at a studio where it's like, we don't fuck with that shit.
No,
like you're
not
here
at
to
all.
just like be yourself. Like no one cares.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And it's incredibly lovely to see people in the studio like saying that to me. And like, I came and took a class and it felt so warm and everyone was so nice. And being an adult is so hard. Right?
Yeah,
being a woman is hard. Being an adult is hard. And when you go to a class, it can be so scary. And there's just something thrilling and lovely about watching someone take their first class at the studio. And they're like, I just didn't know a studio existed like this. And it's like, oh, thank you. And I don't think we're everyone's cup of tea. We are not everyone's cup of tea. I'll tell you that much right now.
For sure. Yeah.
So, and that's fine. And I'm always happy to, if people are like, I'm looking for more of a studio like this, I'm happy to recommend studios because I want my people to be my people. Like I want the people who want to be there to be there. I don't want anyone to come in and be like, this is it. This is all I have.
Yeah.
I gotta
There's
go
a
take
huge
this
difference
class.
between going to like a dance studio that's meant to like be fun and enjoy movement versus going to like a dance studio that's run by a company that specifically does like this like the Graham technique, modern. It's like, okay, that's fucking, I don't need that.
Well, even with pole, because some studios in Colorado are definitely geared more to competitive pole, and I'm anti-competitive pole.
Oh, really?
I'm anti-competitive most things.
Okay,
when it comes to physical bodies. I think most of the women I see that grew up in the dance competitive world get broken by dance. Like they hate it, and it takes them a long time to come back.
Yeah, I don't know very many dancers that don't have body image issues.
I don't know
any.
Or
like physical issues with their like joints and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know any.
Yeah.
I don't know one single dancer who doesn't have some kind of issue with food.
Yeah.
It's
wild.
And this is the thing, it's like, do I consider myself someone who had an ED or anything? No. Like, I eat whatever I feel like. I've always done it, but I am always thinking about it.
Yep.
And that is a form of, you know what I mean?
The fact that it's present in your mind is enough to understand, like, yep, this is something a lot of us put up with.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think about it all, like, I'll eat and I'm like, oh, well, that was just mushrooms and stuff. First of all, why? I have to physically, like, why am I even thinking about this?
Yeah. Why am I, like, trying to bargain with myself?
Yeah, was that too heavy, bargaining with yourself?
Yeah, that's
was
a
that
word.
Too heavy of a meal?
That is a word that I have learned in recovery.
Yeah.
My nutritionist brought it up to me when I started talking to her about, like, you know, I feel like I can't have ice cream for dessert if I don't go for a walk or if I don't do a dance class. Mm-hmm. And she's like, why do you bargain? And I was like, oh, that's what that is. Like it was like a light bulb moment. Mm-hmm. So I don't know why that word was like so meaningful to me.
I always end up eating whatever I want anyway, but I still think about it.
Which is because
I'll go to Cherry Cricket, which I love Cherry Cricket.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, oh man, that was a heavy meal. Why did I eat all that? I probably didn't need to eat all that. And I'm like, what? Why am I even thinking about that?
Yeah, who cares? Like your body knows how to metabolize itself. Like your body is built to keep you alive. Mm-hmm. It's not gonna like make you. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I could go on and on. Like we definitely have instructors and students who have struggled with ED who talk about it openly at the studio. You know, and that's why it's also important to me. I dress like, because we have our studio company called Colfax Candy, and I dress them, and they run the gambit of sizing. So it's up to me. I have to make sure I have sizing for everyone and costumes for everyone.
Yeah.
And that's like a wonderful thing that I get to make women who feel like, oh, I had to buy the largest cheerleading costume, that I'm like, oh, I'm going to make you look so fucking good and beautiful.
Yeah.
So just get ready for that.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The size doesn't matter. It's the way you feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and like, that's always my goal when I'm costuming too, is just, I want my performers to feel beautiful. Mm-hmm. And if they feel beautiful, they don't even think about what they weigh. Because they're like, I look fucking good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Isn't that wild when you start wearing clothes that actually fit you? You're like, wow, I'm hot as fuck.
These jeans, in fact, I got these jeans at Anthropology, and I was like, damn, my butt. I went to go get another pair because I was like, let me get a different color. They only had these, but I'm working on it.
Yeah. I've done that where I bought a pair of, they're not really low rise, but they're like, I guess you'd consider them low rise, because they're like below your belly button.
Yeah.
And I went a size up than I normally do so that they fit better on the waist. And I like felt bad about it, but they fit so much better because they're a size up, and they look cooler because they're like baggy. Yeah. And I was like, no one is looking inside. No one's
like, oh, a 28 instead of a 29.
Yeah, like no one's like taking the waistband out being like, can I see this really quick?
Look.
Yeah.
Let me look.
No one cares. But thank you so much for being here today. I want to go with our closing segment. So Anissa will bring over our affirmations board.
Okay. Yeah.
So I decided to go and buy a bunch of those like toxic magazines and cut out all the letters and do that fun thing. And
you said, am I a serial killer, or am I going to make
am I leaving a threatening note at someone's house? Thank you so much. So if you could do us the honors of, there's a bunch of colored permanent markers. Okay. Write down your favorite affirmation or saying, or, you know, something that you tell yourself that makes you feel good.
Okay.
And sign your
one.
name.
I got a good one too.
Okay, cool.
Do you want me to say it?
Yeah. Tell us what it is.
A moving body is a beautiful body.
That's awesome. I love that. A moving body is a beautiful body. Whether it's running, jumping, jiggling, sagging, breathing, anything, it's all valid and it's all beautiful. Wow, I love that so much.
Wow, I write like a doctor, so.
It's okay. We'll know what it says. But thank you so much for coming here today. It feels cool to like hang out with you.
It feels very cool to hang out with you.
Like it's so nice to see you outside of the studio and get to know you.
When we talk about jobs that you're like, I always think maybe I would have been a comedian. Maybe
really?
I would have. I think about it all the time. First of all, I would never.
Oh,
because I think I'm hilarious, but my humor is a little on the darker side. So I'm always like, let me just not do that publicly.
Yeah.
But before every single show, I go and talk. Mm-hmm. And so I have all these photos of me, like at a mic. I swear, I'll send them to you. I look like a comedian, every single one of them, to the point that I started posting, join me next week for my comedic special.
That's amazing.
But people were like, do you really do comedy? And I was like, no, the picture's just really good.
No.
But like always black and white, Chris Rock style, you know what I mean?
That's
so
hilarious.
Ridiculous. Oh, sorry.
Well, I am really excited to get this episode out. Tell everyone where they can find you.
Oh, sure. So the studio's Hard Candy Dance Studio on Colfax and Elm. You can find me on Instagram at Hard Candy Dance Studio, or follow our dance company, which is at Hard Candy Dancers.
Yay.
Or me at Marquette.Carrington.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Well, thank you again for being here. Thank you guys for listening. This was a very good conversation. This was very healing for me. I don't know if it was healing for you. I feel very good. And remember, a moving body is a beautiful body.
That's right.
Yes.
Woo!
Bye.
I'm gonna move my ass to dance class.
Thank you so much for listening to My Body, My Jokes. Please be advised that the information provided in this podcast is for general discussion purposes only and should not be considered medical advice. Always, always, always seek the advice of a qualified healthcare professional with any concerns you might have regarding the topics discussed in today's episode. Also, if you or someone you know is struggling with an eating disorder, please call the National Eating Disorders Association helpline at 1-800-931-2237. Bye.